upon it, influence. So yes, you are able to influence people, but you also influence a team. How do you motivate a team? How do you make sure that they continue to believe in you? They continue to give you their 100%. And that is what a good entrepreneur is able to hire and retain a team that is motivated. So they are able to assemble and motivate. The next thing is, as an entrepreneur, you do not have the ability to make very long decision cycles. It is about efficient decision making. We will look at examples of COVID. We used to take hours and hours of deliberation to come to a decision. When COVID happened, the decisions were happening very fast. Let's do a lockdown there. Let's do education online. Let's buy more technology. Let's invest in computers. Very quick decision making. That is the decision making you also see with entrepreneurs. And because they are comfortable with uncertainty, it is okay for them to make some wrong decisions. You do not want your decisions to be wrong more times than they are right. However, you need to be sure that it is fast and it is efficient. And that is a good trait of an entrepreneur. The next one is building networks. The fact that I'm sitting here today is because Dr. Deepak made relations with me, developed the network, and convinced me, influenced me to be presenting at 11 p.m. in the night to a very enthusiastic bunch of students. But it was the network. A good entrepreneur will build a network and will convince the network to believe in them, to invest in them, to support them, listen to them, and so on. Very important to have relationships. More importantly, to leverage those relationships. Also, understand the difference between acquaintances and relationships, or acquaintances and and friendships. So be very careful whether it is a network or is it someone that you know their name about. The next key point is collaboration and team orientation. A good entrepreneur is able to leverage the team, is able to collaborate with the entire supply chain, with the entire value system, and it is not about silo behavior. There is 24 hours in a day, and you can work all 24 hours for 5 days, 10 days, and that's about it. And you will need rest. You can work for 20 hours a day, maybe for a month. You can work for 16 hours a day, maybe for 1 year, but you are not going to get more than 16 hours, 20 hours, 24 hours. When you bring the entire supply chain, your entire team together, you are able to collaborate with other organizations, other members of your ecosystem. That is when you start to get hundreds of hours, thousands of hours of productive work. The next point for a good entrepreneur is operations. Yes, you have identified an opportunity. Yes, you have a vision and you have influenced people. Yes, you have put together a good team which is collaborative and not working in isolation and silos. But how good are you with operations? You know, Elon Musk started Tesla, but how fast could he bring those Tesla cars into the market? How good is their facilities, operations? How do you fulfill the demand? All of that becomes very important. And it is an idea is as good as its operations. And if operations is the weakest link in the chain, then the entire chain is as strong as that weakest link. So we need to make sure once you have set it up, you've got your network, you've done the decision making. How good are you with your operations and execution? The next point is financial management. And very quickly, if you can't manage your finances, you will be able to not survive. I have seen organizations that could have started with $1 billion, but you can run out of $1 billion very quickly if you do not have an inflow of funds. If you do not have progress, you will not get further funds. So, how much funds do you need? You don't want to go back to your investors again and again, but at the same time, how do you use them judiciously? Very, very important. When I am teaching entrepreneurship, finance and financial management is an integral part of how to make a business plan. A lot of people in technology, IT, sciences, they try to run away from financial management, but it is a very essential part of running a business unit, a manager, a team leader. You need to manage your own financial profit and loss, even if you are a manager. The next is sales. A good entrepreneur doesn't convert an opportunity into a product, which is amazing, but you can't sell it. Commercializing of the idea. The good work that happens through research gets commercialized by the business, by the industry. It is very important that a good entrepreneur is able to convert those opportunities, visions, research through the help of their team and networks into dollar. And once they have converted that into dollars or Indian rupees, whatever, they are able to sustain their operations. And the last thing is preference for established structure. Now, there is always a debate around, do you want an established structure or do you want to be very agile? Structures are important as long as they don't inhibit growth. And that is what I say. They will have a preference for structure where they are the top of the chain, but that should not be a negative aspect of their growth. It should not be an inhibition to flexible ways of working. A lot of the time, people say we work in an agile manner. Agile doesn't mean that you are unstructured or unorganized. Agile means that you are flexible to change your direction based on new information. It doesn't mean that you do things in an unorganized manner. So, very high level, these are your 11 high level traits that we look for in an entrepreneur. Now, not all of these are available with everyone. Okay, so even entrepreneurs are of two types. One is a founder, one is a non-founder. So if I buy a business, I can be an entrepreneur because I have purchased a business. However, I am not the founder. On the other side, if I grow the business if I start the business, then I am called a founder entrepreneur. So if I look at my skills and behaviors on the left side, the identification of opportunity is significantly higher for the entrepreneurs who are founders. Their vision, and they are very, very comfortable with uncertainty. However, there isn't much difference between them when it comes to motivating a team or decision making. Again, building networks, founders are significantly higher around that. Collaboration and team management of operations, there is no significant difference. Finance and financial management, Founders usually have a significantly higher level of awareness because they are very judicious in using money as well as in raising funds. While if you are a non founder, you are buying a business which is already established, it has already got the cash flow going, and so on. And if I come to established structure, again, a founder, they have very low regard for established structures. They just want to cut through complexity and reach their destination as fast as possible. While non founders are buying into an existing business and they are happy with the structure in place, they will make some changes to the structure. However, they are not the ones with disregard for structure. So I just wanted to bring that across. Similarly, there is a study around male and female entrepreneurs. And what we find is, in terms of identification of opportunities, there is no difference between a male or a female founder. So again, I am now focusing on just the founder side of things. I am not talking about non-founders. So it's entrepreneurial leadership difference between male and female founders. No difference in opportunities. However, when it comes to vision and influence, females are known to have significantly higher vision and influence. However, male founders are known to be more comfortable with uncertainty. So that's a great finding based on the research that was done in Harvard across geographies, across businesses. Similarly, management of operations. Females are known to have significantly higher skills compared to male. However, financial management, the male founder entrepreneurs were found to be much more to have significantly higher skills. So that's pretty good finding. There are predominantly four areas where males do better in two areas and females do better in two areas, and all the other seven areas there was no difference. So just to recap, females have a significantly higher skill in vision and influence and management of operations, while male founders were comfortable with uncertainty and had a significantly higher skill behavior in finance and financial management. Okay, so um, now we look at founders, serial founders, and first time founders. So, serial founders are people who grow new ventures again and again. So, for example, Elon Musk is a serial founder. You know, he'll start with PayPal and move into Tesla Motors and then go into SpaceX. And all of these ventures he founded and he started. So we call them as serial founders. So when we look at serial founders versus non serial founders, we found that the identification of opportunities was much higher for serial founders. And that is understandable because they are coming up with ideas and opportunities. They were very comfortable with uncertainty, even more. So, both serial and non serial founders are comfortable with uncertainty, but serial founders are more comfortable because Elon Musk made PayPal and then was happy to go into Tesla and then into SpaceX. So it wasn't as if they were happy with one. They are significantly higher on some items of assembling and motivating a team. Similarly, building networks, financial management, sales. So you are comfortable in selling from PayPal to motor cars to space travel, very different sales methods, techniques, marketing channels, but you are comfortable across them. So very very important finding again around serial uh, founders and first time founders. Okay, so traits of a successful entrepreneur. So a successful entrepreneur is very practical. They make the plan, so they are organized, but they change it as they go. So as they talk to people, as the environments, they understand the environment, they're happy to change it, but they always have an eye in getting a good return. So good return is return on investment, and investment can be time, money, anything, but they always have a good eye for a good, they have an eye for good return. They are purposeful, that is, they have a practical outlook. They seek opportunities that add value as opposed to opportunities that just seem cool. So next time when you have an idea, say, is it cool, and is it a nice research and it's a nice show off, or is it going to add value to the wider ecosystem, to the wider society, to the wider industry, and is there a benefit around that? So those successful entrepreneurs are very purposeful. And lastly, they are impatient. So I always enjoy discussing about it, because we always say, and we have grown up with, patience is a virtue, but it is in some cases. But for an entrepreneur, so is impatience. So they are fast, they want to do things quickly, they've got a fire in the belly, and it's always a good debate about being patient versus being impatient. We have seen many examples of technology where some people think technology must be perfect before we release it. And then you have other technology providers who actually say, let's release it and get feedback from the community, from the users, and then we can get a phase two. So, what is a minimum viable product? Let's get the MVP out there and see how it is accepted. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. I roughly had around 30-35 minutes, because I wanted to keep the rest of the time for interactive questions. So with that, I will hand it over back to Dr. Deepak, and he will facilitate any questions with that. Thank you, Dr. Deepak.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chandan. It was really a wonderful talk and a very good survey. You explained it with a lot of interest, and clarity was very good. And I'm sure the students would have been much benefited. And it is right now, it is a very essential skill set for all students, because after they complete their degree, many will be having idea to start a company or being an entrepreneur, but they will be having always hesitation what to do, what are the traits, and what are the skill sets they should get. I'm sure this presentation will be helping them a lot. Now let's open the forum. So people, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask Mr. Chandan. Yeah, please go.
Dr. Chandan.
Yeah, please introduce yourself and then you can.
My name is Chandan. I am Professor Bhuvaneshwar Rao, part of the training placement team. Thank you for a very enlightening presentation and I have a small question. How do the first-time entrepreneurs, non-serial entrepreneurs, tide over the current pandemic situation? And part B, I would like to know what is the role of emotional intelligence in the entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Chandan.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Rao. I think it's a very important question. How do you leverage the pandemic situation? So, if I give an example of what's happened in Australia and New Zealand, very quickly, some good young entrepreneurs actually started a contact tracing app. So they were able to develop an app, and they were able to say to the business, please print, register your business and print a QR code. So businesses registered and created a QR code and placed them on their establishments. Any person who would visit the business or a restaurant would download an app and then scan that QR code. And in the background, the app was maintaining a track of what all places you have visited. Whenever there was a COVID case that came up in a particular place, people could actually check very quickly if they have been to that place. And the government across New Zealand was able to track where the people's movement were, where was the COVID issue, who are the people that they needed to test in that time zone. So New Zealand was the first country in the world to eradicate COVID. We are today have 29 COVID cases, and all of them are in managed isolation because they come from travel. So these are Kiwis who are coming back from other countries. We put them in 14 days of quarantine, and some of them have COVID, but there is no community transmission in New Zealand for the last 3 months. And that was the opportunity that some young people took and said, here is a COVID tracking app. Now, so there are opportunities. We need to just be mindful of the opportunity, have the vision, go to the government, influence them, influence the restaurants, and it spreads like wildfire. Everyone started downloading the app. Every business owner started downloading QR code, which was unique to their business, and started putting it on their doors. So before entering into any premises, we were scanning those QR codes. The second part of your question was emotional intelligence. I think emotional intelligence plays a very important role in order to understand, in a similar manner as empathy, to say, how can I relate to my inner self as well as to the inner emotional intelligence of the wider group. And if you are able to understand and leverage that emotional intelligence, you will be able to relate to a wider community, or you will be able to relate to the right community, focusing on your application or your innovation or your idea. So I believe both of them are very important and relevant for an entrepreneur. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chandan.
Any other questions? Please go ahead. Okay. I'll share your mail ID, Mr. Chandan. Some of the students, whoever wants to ask any queries, I'll always share it with them. And then I'm sure you'll be happy to do that and reply them. Now, everybody is waiting for your important announcement.
Sure. Thank you. Sure, Dr. Deepa. So what we have is we have been discussing with Dr. Deepak to have an internship program as well as a graduate recruitment program. So just the company that I represent, which is Duco, we have offices in New Zealand across Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch. We have offices in Australia, in Melbourne and Sydney. then Los Angeles in US, and Gurgaon in Delhi. So in India, Gurgaon is our global delivery center. So one of the things is we'll be sharing some details with Dr. Deepak in terms of internship opportunities in the areas of quality assurance, which is specifically automation testing, um, around performance testing, functional testing, as well as security testing. We'll also be sharing some internship opportunities in the areas of data migration, and especially around master data management. And lastly, the area of middleware integration architecture, especially around cloud with Azure, AWS, and Power Apps, Logic Apps, those things. So there will be 3 to 4 work streams around quality assurance, data migration, software development, and so on. So please link with our service line leaders. It will be a short period of time for a month. There is no cost for the students for doing this internship. So we have done that arrangement with the Saveetha Institute, whereby as part of our relationship and ecosystem, the two organizations have taken care of the costs, and so that there is no direct impact on the students, especially during this time of COVID. These opportunities can be done remotely, through interaction on Teams, Zoom, through cloud platforms, for a month. And post that, depending on your performance, which will include soft skills as much as your professional technical skills. In fact, soft skills will be as important, if not more important, than your technical skills, because we can teach you technical skills very quickly. Soft skills is something that you come with, and we want to understand how you work, react, behave in a work environment. So based on that, there will be graduate opportunities for 2 to 3 students. Our graduate program starts at 4.5 lakhs per annum, or around 40,000 rupees of salary per month, and it is based out of Gurgaon. So a few things around that is it you will have to be based out of Gurgaon for the graduate program. Internship, you can be based anywhere. It's online. You will, and then after that we will look at 2 to 3 graduates to be based out of Gurgaon office. And then as you perform well, as we say, water finds its own level. You could have opportunities in 3 to 5 years to be working out of our US office or New Zealand, Australia. We are looking to establish Singapore and UK in the next 1 year. We were hoping to have it this year, but because of COVID, I think we've all had challenges. So there will be opportunities for offshore travel, basically, or we call it onshore, to Australia, New Zealand. And then obviously some of the people actually stay back and become permanent residents and citizens, while others prefer to go back after 2 years to India. So, and again, we provide all of that support in that. So I just wanted to thank Dr. Deepak for putting this proposal together, working with me tirelessly. I do travel a lot, and I am very difficult to get hold of. So I apologize to Dr. Deepak for not being as communicative as a professional that I should be. But he has persisted and said, for the interest of our students, we have to do this. So here you are. You should feel very proud to have someone like Dr. Deepak who is persistent in getting you these opportunities. So I look forward to applications for internship. I will not be involved personally, but my team will be. And I hope some of you can take benefit of this opportunity. So thank you, everyone. I really appreciate your patience.
Thank you, Mr. Chandan. It was really a wonderful and pleasure to have you here, and I'm sure students will be very much excited after hearing it from you. And
Deepak?
we are yeah, yes, sir.
Deepak, this is Chokalingam.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, sir. Please go ahead, sir. Dr. Chonkalingam, sir.
Yeah, just 1 minute. I want to talk.
Yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead, sir. Yeah.
So Chandan, I am Dr. Chokalingam, head of the Department of Computer Science and IT and Program Director of CSE Department. I'm happy and listening your our speech. Very nice and very interaction and all giving a very wonderful content from your side. Many of them are listening. I think it is very useful for our side. Mr. Deepak, Dr. Deepak is coordinated very well into the SSE for a long time. Maybe you are interact with the person. Deepak is a nice guy. So because we heard about the internship and other details, I think I got from your side. So very happy. And earlier, Mr. Rao spoke with he is the soft skill trainer. And so we have a very wonderful team. 100% assured that I think our students are very useful into your site. So you can check with the people and give the opportunity. Assured that people will do a wonderful job for you. Thanks for the opportunity. Okay, that's especially for this kind of the COVID situation and other things. Really, you've given a wonderful opportunity. And 100% I think our students are utilizing. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, no, thank you, Dr. Chokalingam. It is industry academic partnership, and I look forward